Hello ladies and gents, PepperBelly here, bringing you guys some more Fractured Space. This time I'm going to be going into a little bit more detail on the ships themselves and describe a little bit what the game has to offer right now, and then maybe get into some gameplay later showcasing some simple gameplay mechanics using a different ship than the one I had on my initial first look at this game, the video I uploaded a couple of days ago where I was using the Sniper capital ship, where this time I'll be using something different. So without further ado, let's get into it. So right now, obviously, you have your greeting from the developers explaining that, yes, this is early access, and things are obviously yet to be added, and all that jazz. And you got this menu here, which is how to play, so you can go in here, you can look at the way the game is actually structured. So you can see, like, number one, the map is split into 5 separate sectors, and I'll explain that once I actually get into the game, but basically, the way this works, it's like the whole game instructions are described right here. And you got your controls, which are kind of important to know. So you can see them here. And then of course you got this, which is coming soon. Nobody really knows what that is. And you can check out the ships, visit the crew, and prepare to launch. These kind of will bring you to the same, well, this and this will bring you to the same screen, which is just the hangar. And then the crew will also bring you to the hangar, but it'll show you the crews you can actually select as well. So you go ahead and take a look at the options menu. It's incredibly limited as it stands right now. Obviously you got, like, you know, your graphics options, which is extremely low, and you got your advanced settings, which are, you know, pretty basic. Again, this is early access. Game options are coming soon. Again, early access. And audio options, which are actually, even though this is early access, is nice. You know, you got your master, you got your music effects and voice, which, you know, a lot of games, even AAA titles, end up just throwing it all into one, which is incredibly annoying, and that needs to be remedied. Let's go ahead and check out the hangar. So here are your crews. Alright, you can choose, like, the crew roster. You can either have 1 or 2. You know, you got your captain, your pilot, your engineer, your comms, and your tactical. I don't think they really make a difference. It's just who you want to listen to. So you can, like, click on them.
Don't bother me unless you pay well.
And you can, like, hear them say stuff.
Okay, fine. Let's go.
You can, like, at least understand what they're going to sound like when they're talking to you in-game. So it's kind of a nice little addition. You can also, like, change them, swap them out. It doesn't really make a difference, I don't think. So I don't know if they're going to have it so, like, you train your crew, kind of similar to what World of Tanks has or anything like that. I really hope they don't, because that would just that's one feature I never really liked about games like this. So here you go, you got your dry dock inventory. You can actually visit the dry dock and you can see the various types of manufacturing companies that develop these ships. So you got the United Space Research, which has the Sniper, the Flagship, the Assassin, Disruptor. You got the Exterminator, which I'm assuming that's what it says, you can't really see the art, and the Trapper, which these are not unlockable at the moment. These are also Tier 3. You can see they're labeled in tiers. You got Tier 1, 2, and 3. Xeric Industrial, you got your Hunter, which is Tier 1, you got your Frigate, which is Tier 2, the Carrier, which sounds pretty cool, it's about 10,000 credits it seems, and you got your Destroyer and the Slayer. Dominion Dynamics, you got the Corvette, the Gunner, and the Raider. None of these are unlockable. I don't think they are, because I never earned credits for anything, and as you can see, I'm level 0, even though XP required to level up is 0, and I have, you know, you can look at my service record. Rank is Admiral. I don't know. Obviously, this is all subject to change because it's not quite ready yet, right? It's still early in development. So if we go back to the hangar, you can see that there's the Sniper, there's the Flagship, the Assassin, Disruptor, the Hunter, and the Frigate. So how you go ahead and actually customize them, you have to click on them, and then you click on it again. So you can see the Sniper is equipped with a long-range cannon, which is, I'm assuming that's what LR means, long-range cannon. Tier 3, you get a railgun. Tier 4, you get a charge cannon. Which I'm assuming this, you can charge it up to, like, you have to manually hold and charge off the cannon to fire it, which sounds kind of cool. That's my hypothesis on what that can actually end up being. You got Mark Target, which basically marks the target. I'm assuming what it does is when you click it, it fires it off, it tags the target, and I think it does a little bit extra damage. It gives you damage boosts. The shield, you can activate this at any time, so say to someone who gets up on your flank, like an assassin for example, and they're about to, like, you know, rain hell on you, activate the shield, it should deflect a good majority of the damage, and once it dissipates, then your hull will start taking damage as well. You got missiles, which basically once you lock onto a target, by basically just piloting any target, you fire these off, they will seek and destroy whatever capital ship you're firing at. So it'll actually hone in on the targets you're firing at. You got the spotter drone, which I'm not entirely sure what this does. It's a drone, I'm assuming that goes out and spots stuff. Spotter drone. I haven't really quite figured that out yet. I've used it, but I don't know exactly what it does specifically, but I haven't, obviously, given its name, you can kind of guess, right? And of course you got your engine, which every single capital ship has this. Take a look at the flagship. You got your flat cannons, which are incredibly close range. So, one guy kind of explained it like this. Think of Assassin's Creed Black Flags in the way the ships kind of work. Think of it like the cannons on that. Basically, you can swivel them around in a 360, but they fire a large amount of rounds at the same time, and once they reach a certain distance, they all detonate in a huge cloud of explosions. It looks quite magnificent. It's a really awesome sight when you're looking at it, and it's not really a massive damage dealer, but it does, well, it really will harass any ship near you, and combining that with your missiles and your jammer and your disable, and it's pretty great. So what disable ends up doing, if you use this, it'll disable a ship's engine, so it'll be sitting there for like 5 seconds, 3 seconds, depending on, it's kind of randomized. I haven't seen it being very consistent, so if you actually hit them with that, they'll be sitting ducks for a little while, which allows you to close the gap. Jammer, basically, within a certain proximity, you activate this, it'll jam everything within the vicinity, so everyone's radars that are, well, enemies anyway, will just be jammed, so they can't see what's happening around them. Missiles, again, same kind of idea, and the swarm drones are pretty sweet. These things are actually designed, they're a whole bunch of drones, they fly out and they will seek enemies and they'll do damage to them. And I've been on the receiving end of it. It's kind of annoying because even though the capital ship can warp out of the area, so he'll jump out of the sector, his swarm drones will linger around for a little while after that before they all start jumping out as well, and they'll just be hovering around your ship, constantly dealing DPS to you, which is kind of interesting. And of course, you got your engine, obviously. So the Assassin, pretty cool ship to fly. It took me a little while to figure out how to actually really use it, because, well, you gotta use it as it's actually named. It's an assassin ship. It has rockets, it's got ambush and cloaking and blink target and decoy drone. So the rockets are unguided. They're not like the missiles, so when you fire them, it fires a salvo of rockets, an entire volley of them, but they go they just go in one particular direction. So, like, if you miss with them, they're slow, first of all. They're not really fast, they're slow. And they deal a massive amount of damage, which is the upside to it. Ambush is when you tag someone, kind of similar to the marked target on the sniper, except it increases your damage output exponentially. And you combine that with rockets, and holy crap, you can sink a ship in one attack. Cloaking is, as you would expect, you cloak, allowing you to sneak into position to combine ambush and then fire rockets. Personally, I've done it. I've taken out a hunter in one go by cloaking, getting underneath it, hitting it with ambush, firing rockets, and I destroyed a hunter in just one volley of rockets. It's pretty great. Blink to target basically allows you to, like, select any target. If you're nearby, you can hit it, and it'll kind of teleport you really quickly near the target. And a decoy drone will create and summon another ship, another assassin ship that looks exactly like yours. When it gets hit, it actually explodes as well, so it looks like it's actually the ship, and you use that as a decoy. The Disruptor, which is the only one I haven't played as yet. I've tried every single capital ship here except for the Disruptor. The Disruptor has a blaster, which I'm guessing is just some simple kind of type of weapon, turret. You got Disarm, which what this does is it makes it so any ship near you can't use their weapons. It disables their weapons for a short duration. Detect Stun, which I'm assuming has the same kind of idea behind the Hunter's detection, where I'm not too familiar with what this actually does. I have a feeling it just allows you to detect nearby ships, kind of like what Hunter does, because some of these kind of share the same abilities but a little bit differently, like the Assassin and the Hunter, which I'll talk about in a second. You got Jump to Ally, which is like if someone's near you and a friendly and you need to get out of the spot right away, or maybe you want to get there and heal them quickly, you can jump right to them. And the healing drone allows you to actually heal friendly ships. You got the Hunter, which is very similar to the Assassin, kind of. The only difference is it's more of a brawler than being stealthy. So you got your cannon, which is pretty decent. It fires rapidly. It does enough damage. You got Blink, which is the same idea as what the Assassin had, which is the target blink. The only difference is you don't need to lock onto a target to use it. You can actually blink back and forth between the ship, and it's actually really effective if you're going up against a flagship, for example. It's very slow, and they harass the crap out of you with their flat cannons, right? So what you can end up doing is getting really close beside them, and then blink to the opposite side, turn your turrets on them, hit them with missiles and your cannon, and then blink back and keep blinking all over the place. The Hunter is incredibly maneuverable because of Blink. It has a cooldown, everything has cooldown, so you can't just spam it repeatedly because that would be a little bit ridiculous, right? You got Detect, which operates the same way as the jammer on the flagship. You activate this, it sends out a wave in a certain radius around your ship, which basically, if there's any assassins nearby that are cloaked, it'll uncloak them. It'll reveal all the ships within the vicinity. You got leech drones, which again, not entirely sure what this does, and then the engine, obviously. I don't even know why I keep pointing that out. And of course, you got the frigate, which has multi-shot. This thing is actually pretty sweet. The multi-shot's like a whole bunch of lasers that fire off all at once. It sounds really cool. There's a lot of damage. You got screen. No idea what this does. I've seen it pop up in front of me. It's like a giant, literally looks like a massive blue, like, force field screen in front of your ship. I'm not sure if it deflects damage. I have no idea, because it's only right in front of your ship. So I'm guessing it's maybe some kind of like screen that dissipates damage that you receive. Again, I'm just kind of guessing. I don't really know. You got proximity mines. These are kind of useful. So say an assassin gets really close to you and is about to kind of bombard you with his rockets, you can fire off these proximity mines. They'll fly out in all directions, and they have a certain radius on them. And they're like giant red bubbles. They look like little red bubbles when they're flying out around you, and they'll detonate if they get close to any other ship. Of course, you got your missiles, which locks on to stuff. You got your detector drone. Again, not entirely sure what that does. I'm guessing, obviously, it's going to be detecting something. I don't know. The drones are a little bit finicky. Obviously, this game needs some explanation. Like, if I hover over it, instead of just saying multi-shot in all caps, which I could see already, you know, it says it right here. Maybe have a window describing, which I'm pretty sure they will get to eventually. This is really early in the development of this game. So I'm hoping that eventually they'll add, and I can almost guarantee you they will add descriptions to every single one of these in the future. So that's every single one of your ships. They all have roles right now. Obviously there's going to be a lot more by the time the game actually comes out, which would be kind of nice. Let's go ahead and jump into a game. We'll take a look at the Assassin, which is a very difficult ship to kind of master at first. And you might be able to see the server issue I was referring to, yeah. Okay, so you can see it here. Everything is empty. Look at this. There's so many servers, but they're all empty. Every single one of them, because all the filled ones are hidden. Which makes sense, but then again, it's like, there's not a lot of people playing this, which is a shame, because the game is pretty solid, even in its current state. So we're going to go ahead and join this London server, which currently has 4 people in it. So every time you spawn in, you have to actually left click, which will fire off your rockets. Or fire off your main weapon, because for some reason the game kind of goes into this window type mode. Or acts like it's in this windowed mode, where you have to click on the game for it to actually register, like, okay, I want my mouse to be in the game world now. Really not a big deal, but you can see I have the ambush ability, which is instantaneous. See, it's like a little laser that fires off. Then you got your decoy, which if I summon it, you know, let me point it somewhere, press 3, there's my decoy, and if I shoot it, it'll actually kind of explode. You can see it actually, it looks like it's an actual ship. It's not going to be like you're shooting at it and everything just goes through it like it's a holographic image. It'll actually kind of explode and stuff. Then you got your cloaking ability. So, I guess I'll explain the game pretty simply right now while we wait for more people to join. If you look at the bottom right, you'll see the map, and it's got 5 different sectors. So you got the Bravo sector, which has Bravo 1 and Bravo 2, which is on the left side. You got the Alpha sector, which is Alpha 1 and Alpha 2 on the right side, which is where we are right now. Alpha, which is the very bottom, which is A, would be our base that we start off in. E would be the enemy base, and C would be the Gamma sector, which is the massive gas space station, which I think you go there, you accumulate. It's only available once later into the match, so you don't get it right away. You can't just go and jump to it initially. You have to wait a little bit while into the actual game itself before you can actually do that. And I think once you get there, it gives you massive resources, which are kind of crucial to actually being able to win this game. So how it works, if you look at the top left, you'll see right now there's 2 kind of bars. You know, you got the blue and the red resources icons, which represents the amount of resources each team currently has. And then you have the numbers in the middle, which represents the current buff level that each team is at, so whether they're tier 1, 2, or 3, based on how many facilities they've captured.
Someone just got lit up.
And then Sam's going to talk and make it disappear. So you can see the next one above that, so the furthest top left, it has like an empty circle, then there's one above it that has the circle with a kind of diamond in the middle. That's the upgrades. So once you actually manage to start capturing every single one of these kind of gas or mining stations. These are mining stations. And you capture those main stations over there as well, forward bases, you can actually upgrade your ship. And you kind of need to, because when you go to the enemy base, and let's say you want to attack it, when you're going inside the bubble, so you can see this bubble here, you have to be inside it in order to capture it. If you get inside the bubble, you'll start taking damage. So if I were to go do it right now, I'd be destroyed, like, instantaneously. You need to have your ship updated to at least tier 2 or 3 before you want to make those kind of attempts. So you can't just jump from any... This guy's shooting at me. As you can see, he just used blink right there, now he's on this side. But again, this is... Oh, see, there's the frigate's multi-shot. Or those are actually drones. Never mind. And since this is just a warm-up, we can't take damage, and this is kind of useless. They're just trying to be annoying right now. So say I want to actually jump to their base. Where I am right now, which is the bottom right near A1. If I were to actually open up my... where I wanted to jump, I can only go to Team 1 base and the Gamma sector, right? I can't go to theirs. In order for me to actually be able to do that, I have to fly all the way to Alpha 2. So I have to be actually close to the sector I want to jump into in order to be there. You can't just fly there either. So say I wanted to, like, oh, I'm gonna just, you know, turn left here and just fly directly to that sector. Well, that's just not how it works, because this is space. And apparently these sectors, in reality, are very, very far apart. So if I were to fly up to that white line that, you know, divides C from the Alpha sector, it's exactly that. I won't be able to actually get there. I'll just bump into an invisible wall. So here we go. The game's starting now. We have an entire team of assassins, so this is a little bit ridiculous. And we have one flagship, and they have snipers, hunters, a flagship, and another hunter. So, very, very strange. I have no idea how this is going to turn out, honestly, but the last time I was playing this and there was a whole team of hunters, I was a sniper and I destroyed everything immediately, so who knows how it's going to play out. So the game runs also on a horizontal axis, on a horizontal plane. So I'm not going to be like flying straight up or flying straight down or any of that. Basically you just turn left, turn right, strafe left, strafe right, and move up and down. Kind of like a helicopter in the real world. So you don't get to pick and choose what way you want up. It's already determined for you. Everything just works on a horizontal plane. So quickly looking for any ships in the area, and I don't see anything. Gotta start moving to one of these. You can see he just activated his jammer. That big yellow button. Or button. Big yellow bubble was. So you can see on the right side, it'll have a little tiny bubble that fills up. Every single ship has its own capture rate. And if multiple ships get into the bubble and start capturing it, it does this really weird mathematical process in which it kind of deducts. It's like the sum of both ships. I don't know, it's really weird to explain. It doesn't double it. It just, gathers the sum of the rate. Something like that. I don't really remember. I sound retarded right now. I don't really know exactly what I'm talking. Something along the lines of that from what I gauged what the developers were saying. So no one seems to be on this side, which is kind of good. Making it really easy to capture these mining stations.
Cap ship down.
So what we're gonna end up doing here, we're going to capture this mining station here, then capture that forward operating base. and then move into Gamma section and cut over to Alpha to assist them. But we're going to be jumping into Alpha 2, so we'll be coming right up behind them. You can see these ships maneuver very, very slowly. Because they're giant capital ships, especially that flagship right there, it's probably the slowest. Taking our sweet time here. These games tend to last a very long time.
I want this station under our control.
So another thing as well, whenever you're actually capturing a base, the way it works, if I were the enemy right now and I went all the way over there and I started capping the base, you'd see, if you look at the bottom left, or the bottom right, sorry, you look at the map, you can see the little blue circles, which show that, okay, we captured it. It'll gradually start filling up with red, kind of what you're seeing right now on B2, with it being red and filling up with blue. It'll do the same thing. The only difference is, if say they don't cap it all the way, so they don't capture and they fill it up halfway, and they fly out of it. In that particular situation, if I were a friendly, and I were to fly into that bubble, that would actually take away their capture completely. Whatever they gained by sitting there and capturing would immediately just disperse and go away. However, for forward operating bases like A2, A1, B1, and B2, that doesn't happen. So now I'm going to jump into A2 and immediately cloak.
Preparing jump drive now. The jump is complete.
You can see I'm cloaked. Get behind the sniper. Tag him. And neutralized. Tag that one as well. Gonna want to cloak again. Oh, but I got detected. That flagship can easily be destroyed, which is what I'm trying to go and do right now. So I'm getting close to him. I'm cloaking. Settling up. There you go. Destroyed.
I have a new target.
So for example, if I want to do this now, Ghost Nap is chasing that guy over there. So I want to go and assist him. So I'm going to just keep flying towards him. He actually just blinked. So now I'm going to do a target blink. Here we go. Cloak. Tag. Didn't deal nearly as much damage as I was hoping, but he also kind of just blinked a little bit further. Or wait, no, he's still right here, never mind. And we're kind of flying into each other, that's really weird. He just blinked away. No idea where he went. Trying to look for him, I have no idea where he went. He must have jumped out of the system. That sniper's engaging me. You can see him right there. There's actually a couple of snipers there, so they deal a lot of damage. What you want to end up doing is, in this situation, activating your cloak and using the asteroids for cover, as the assassin anyway. You're going to want to be using asteroids for cover anyway, but in this particular situation, cloaking doesn't last that long, so what you want to do is block your line of sight from where those ships are. So I could sit here for a bit. They won't be able to see me. Wait for cloak to come back. Activate it. Keep leapfrogging my way to get behind them. So I'm going to be going for that guy over there. Oh, they just detected me. That's the problem with hunters. They can do that. But I'm going to be going after this guy over here. If I can keep not getting detected. So that's the problem with hunters. They're quite the harassers when it comes to... Get close to him so I can target blink to him. There we go. He tried to jump out, but I managed to take him out. He tried to jump, and he takes more damage. Whenever you're trying to jump out of the system, you'll take more damage during that period. As a result, you will pretty much have that happen to you.
New ship on screen. Allies destroyed. Move to station.
He's just sitting there. Doesn't really seem set on moving. I don't know if he's disconnecting. I don't know what's happening.
Damage increased. The course breached. End of story. Bring support side down.
Try to get close. I can target blink to him.
Get us on station immediately.
And take him out.
Confirmed.
So that's the best way to play the assassin anyway.
Someone just got lit up.
Ghost Napa, what is he? He's a hunter. Also, any forward operating base that you go to that you've captured
Killed.
will repair your ship.
Intel reports that enemies attacking the base. All set for stealth approach.
That is a sniper, I believe, which is kind of ideal. That's what we want to.
Those on a
We
station.
want to hit him really close.
We lost them.
He just fired a bunch of missiles right there. My cloak just wore off.
System deactivated.
Get close to him by target blinking. Right beside him. He's got no maneuverability. And he's dead. Snipers are extremely lethal if you know how to play them right. And it's very, very easy to get ambushed like that if you're not playing it smart. And considering we're an entire team of assassins, it's kind of annoying. If they had a whole bunch of hunters, they only have 2 at the moment. Especially how one of their team members just kind of left. Whether or not they actually decided to leave by rage quitting or they got disconnected, it's anybody's guess because this game has issues like that where that'll just happen for no apparent reason. Server-related issues, they are aware of it, and apparently they're trying to fix it. Apparently there was a fix in place, but for some reason it wasn't applied, and has to do with the actual servers themselves. You can see I'm kind of gradually getting healed. If you look at the top left now, you'll see I'm tier 2 on the actual upgrades. So tier 1 was already unlocked, I had that. Now I'm tier 2, it basically gives you more hull strength. You can see now I have like over 9,000. Over 9,000! Hull health. And the game's got disconnected. So that happens. As you can see, I just got disconnected. One of the minor issues with the game. Which I guess isn't too bad, because now we're at 29 minutes. I guess we could just end the video here, because that was a demonstration. How convenient is that? Gotta love when stuff falls into place like that. But unfortunately, again, that's a problem with the game. I got disconnected. That's actually the first time that has ever happened to me. So it's kind of annoying. But what can you do, right? It's just, it happens. They'll fix it. It's early access. But given its current state right now, the game, although it's not 100% balanced and there are minor issues, it is an excellent game. They just need to optimize it, they need to fix things, and I can imagine by the time this game is actually released and gone into the whole free-to-play model, it'll actually be a worthy contender for other games out there that mimic the same kind of genre and playstyle, like World of Tanks and War Thunder. So, that pretty much wraps up the video, guys. My name is PepperBelly, and I'll see you guys on the next one.